Welcome to everyone, guys. This is going to be very short report by the Bulgarian Cowboy. I'm trying to tell you that this time, this fight card didn't. Well, it kicked off as pretty much boring grapple fest, but I like grappling. I do like grappling, but I'm not the greatest fan of wrestling as well as you know, and I'm still learning wrestling. And Nicolas Dalby versus Claudio Silva, it was a dominant victory for Locomotivo Dalby after losing round one. He bounced back into the winning column with a victory over his opponent, and got to say he outworked him in the next two rounds. Also, Mandy Baum versus Victoria Leonardo went in the favor of Victoria Leonardo. Hence, Mandy Baum defeated her. Hence, Mandy Baum defeated her in her last round. Still, Leonardo won fair and square. Pretty much good performance, and I was on point with my bets. Then the first miss happened with Jai Herbert versus Kyle Nelson, and Jai Herbert outworked him. He was able to defeat Kyle Nelson, which kind of led to a great performance in the end of Jai Herbert. Jai Herbert really did a wonderful job by outworking his opponent, outsmarting him, and he is not going to get released. Then Makwan Amirkhani versus Jonathan Pierce was the first TKO fight, and my pick for this fight was the fight will not go the distance, which was kind of a great pick by me. As I had a feeling it's either going to be Pierce via some kind of a stoppage or it's either going to be Makwan via submission, but I was giving more chances to Makwan Amirkhani via submission. Hence, it didn't go well for me. It didn't go well for me because Makwan Amirkhani really did a wonderful job in the first round, but he was unable to lock that anaconda tight. Muhammad Mokaev versus Johnson, it was an awesome fight. It really was an awesome fight. It was a very close one. And when I've seen that fight, I've seen that Muhammad Mokaev was trying so hard. He was trying so hard to defeat Johnson, but he was unable to. He was unable to drag him onto the ground, and he was unable to teach his opponent a lesson because Johnson is the former LFA champion. Both of these guys deserve the spot at top 15. It really was a wonderful piece of fight to remember. So if you're gonna ask me, that's a piece of fight to remember. That's a piece of fight to rewatch every single time when you want to learn something new. You should rewatch this fight, and that is going to give you some further insight into the game. So if you ask me which fight should I rewatch, if you want to learn how to wrestle, this is the fight for you, the perfect fight for you. Then the next fight, Wood versus Rosa. This is my candidate for the fight of the night. My pick was fight starts round 3, and despite Rosa was hurt, despite Wood was hurt, this fight went the distance, and it is my real candidate for the fight of the night. Then the easiest lock of the night was actually Mark Diakise versus Damir Hadžović. I knew that Damir Hadžović doesn't have good fight IQ. He is a bomber with very powerful hands, mighty strikes, etc. But his fight IQ is pretty much off point, which you've seen in his bout against Mark Diakise. Mark Diakise pretty much outstruck him. Mark Diakise outworked this guy, and Mark Diakise pretty much taught him a lesson easily via grappling. Great grappling by Mark Diakise, great wrestling, and Mark Diakise really did a wonderful job tonight by performing well against his opponent. Then we had a fight between Mason Jones and Ludovic Klein. Mason Jones, he looked off point pretty much tonight. It was a great performance by Ludovic Klein, and I was pretty much surprised when I've seen Lajushko doing all those things, being so dominant in the fight against Mason Jones. That's not something I was expecting, but it came to fruition. Then we had a fight between Craig and Volkan. Paul Craig was constantly trying to drag the fight to the ground by any means necessary, but he was unable to, as Volkan Ozdemir kept the fight on the feet, and Volkan Ozdemir was really doing a wonderful job by not letting his opponent drag him into his own game, drag him into his own shadow realm. So I got to say that Volkan Ozdemir showed some of the highest fight IQs I've ever seen. So way to go to Volkan Ozdemir. I really think he did a wonderful job. I really think Volkan Ozdemir showed how you should fight and what you should do. So if you ask me, Volkan Ozdemir did a wonderful job when it comes to fight IQ, one of the best jobs I've ever seen in the history of this sport. Molly McCann versus Hannah Goldie, as expected, it was TKO. Easy first round knockout for Molly McCann. Hannah Goldie is not a good striker, and we've seen that against Molly McCann. Molly McCann rocked her with a spinning back elbow, as well as you've seen, and then finished her with a barrage of punches. Nikita Krylov versus Alexander Gustafsson was also excellent finish. Krylov is way ahead his opponent, and I think Krylov really did an excellent job. Big punches for Nikita Krylov to finish Alexander Gustafsson. I don't think Gustafsson will ever get back. Paddy Pimblett, after being dominated in round one, he was able to somehow land the knee of the clinch, and after landing that knee of the clinch, he sank that arm under Levitt's neck for a submission victory. I think Paddy is ready for top 15. I mean, people are going to ask me that question over and over. I think the guy is ready for top 15. I think the guy did an excellent job. Then Chris Curtis versus Jack Hermanson. Very much of a surprising fight. Got to say, very much of a surprising fight. This fight is the greatest surprise to me on the whole card because I wasn't expecting Jack Hermanson to get to dominate Chris Curtis like this, especially in the stand-up, because I know that Jack Hermanson is not the greatest striker in the world, but this time he proved that I was wrong, and Jack Hermanson was fighting very well from long range. He was outstriking his opponent. He was teaching him a lesson very well. And I have to say, this was a wonderful piece of performance by Jack Hermanson. So I have to say that Jack Hermanson really did a great job tonight. And Chris Curtis was pretty much angry. Then at the end of the match, he was like, "Come on, let's fight." And Charles Rosa wanted to kill his opponent, also Nathaniel Wood, because he was evading. But you've seen how he was like, "Come on, let's fight." And then Chris Curtis at the end of the match like this. And when his opponent wanted to fight back, then he wanted to shake hands. Chris Curtis showed like this. He didn't want to shake hands. And he simulated the running, Mr. Runaway. Then in the main event of the evening, I was expecting easy win for Tom Aspinall, but unfortunately didn't come to fruition as Tom Aspinall hurt his leg. He just fell on the back, and it was all he wrote. He was unable to work his way up. He was unable to get back on his feet. I just hope Tom Aspinall is fine. I hope everything is going to be okay with him, and I hope we are going to see Tom Aspinall in the ring ASAP. I know it's not going to be soon, but I wish all the best to Tom Aspinall. Overall, okay card. It kicked off as a snooze fest, as out of first 8 fights, only one finished via stoppage, but then in the last 5 fights, we only had one decision. So, okay card. I pretty much enjoyed, and got to say it was a great way to go. So, catch you later. Going to sleep now, and night.